Thinking about going to watch the new Iron Claw movie? I'll give you my take on it before you go. This movie is inspired and follows closely to the life of the Von Erich family, starring Zac Efron, which everybody knows from like my High School Musical, uh, Jeremy Allen White, which you might know from the FX show The Bear or Shameless, Holt McCallany. Uh, I know him as Bill Tench from the movie from the show Mindhunters on Netflix. God, can we bring Mindhunters back? That's such a good show. Um, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you this is not a feel good holiday movie. It's not like, oh, hey, we're going to go watch this movie about this family of wrestlers and go out and kick ass and it's going to be great. No, like this is a gut punch. Like, I think at one point, everybody in the movie theater was just like, oh, man. It's a really, really heavy movie. So the Von Erichs, they were a wrestling family, a bunch of athletes who grew up in Texas. Their dad was a wrestler, and he told his sons, like, you got to be the toughest, the strongest, and if you're that, like, nothing's ever gonna hurt you. Um, and the reason he would tell them this is because there was a belief that their family was in fact cursed. So the dad was like just really hard on his kids as he was, grooming them to come up and into the his wrestling organization that he had. Um, and then again, like this dad, Bill Tench's character, or not Bill Tench, I know, Hope McCallany, his character was like extremely tough on his kids. Even in the previews, there's a scene where they're having breakfast together, and he tells his four boys the order in which he favors them, but tells them, "Hey, it's all up for that order can change. You just gotta, change how well you impress me." And the thing is, all his boys are like dying for dad's approval, dying to do what dad says, and he really pushes them to a break, break that breaking point. Um, and the whole idea of this family being cursed really plays out in the movie, and that's again, it's a heavy film. Do yourself a favor, do not Wikipedia the Von Erich family before you go. Let the movie surprise you if you're unfamiliar with the story. Yeah, but it's uh, it's not it's not like super difficult to watch. There are some uplifting points, but overall, it's like it's a beatdown. Um, Now, the standout performance in this was given by Zac Efron. Um, I mean, I've known him mostly like from like the Neighbors movies, being that more of the jockey, funny guy. And in this, he plays a very, very serious, uh, grounded guy. Um, his character's name is Kevin Von Erich, and this guy is he has to wrestle with like living up, like quite literally has to wrestle with the idea of having to live up to his family's expectations. Uh, Also trying to manage like being the eldest of his brothers. And there's this little caveat to that I'm not going to get into. And this, I don't want to ruin anything, about him being the oldest and having to manage it, and like that's something that still bothers him. Um, and then he has to also take care of his own family that he's having, and he's wrestling with that and this curse and this idea that his family's doomed. Uh, and always trying to like, how can I elevate him? And he puts him on his back, and you could tell it's crushing this poor man. Um, and it kind of reminds me of the saying like nice guys finish last. Because he's trying to do everything right. He's trying to walk the line for the family and be the leader, do everything right, be the first, be the best. Um, and then you contrast that with the Nature Boy. He comes in this Ric Flair, he lets out a couple woo. And the Nature Boy comes in and like kind of takes over the wrestling scene. I mean, that's not a spoiler. Like that's who Ric Flair is. But his character is shown in this movie, and the Nature Boy Ric Flair, it completely contrasts with who Kevin Von Erich was. Nature Boy, wild renegade. Kevin Von Erich, this grounded, work hard, don't play hard, right? Just go and it's business. And that kind of just puts a stress on the dynamics of the family. Now, again, this is a wrestling family. They, well known within the wrestling world. But in the movie, like all the people in the family, they're constantly just like wrestling with themselves. Like nobody can express themselves freely. They're all holding back. They're all trying to again kind of walk the company line at all times. No hugs, a lot of handshakes type of a family. And uh that pain it just felt throughout the movie. Um, and like each one of the characters is broken in their own unique way from the other ones, and they're all trying to do their best to do what's right by the Von Erich name, and it ends up just crushing this family, you know. And I really think like, man, they should have had an ad at the end for like BetterHelp or some other therapy service, because man, I think people walked out of that just kind of like, again, like it's I'm used the term a couple times, but like, man, it's just heavy. Like it just kind of you walk out of there, just like, oh wow, like I can't say that I enjoyed the movie because it definitely like wasn't a fun movie to watch. It's not it's good. I liked it. I enjoyed it in the sense that it's a well-made movie and it has a script, but like you just walk out feeling a certain way, and it just again, it's a gut punch. And I vibed with it a little bit. I grew up in a household with three older brothers, and with my dad, and you know, uh, in the movie, like the brothers are forced to kind of lean on each other for strength rather than uh, going to their mom and dad and that, and where there's times where they'd approach the dad, and the dad was like, "Oh, like no, you guys got to take care of that yourself. I'm not." It's kind of like he did his part already, um, and just kind of a lot of like downward pressure on the kids. And for Kevin, Zac Efron's character, man, the fact that uh, the way he carried himself was impressive with the whole dynamics that was going on there. And um, and it's just like everybody in this family just had a hard time expressing themselves and just being real with each other. And that's something I kind of get. I kind of vibe with that. I kind of understand it. And but I'll tell you, man, once this movie, because it starts out pretty fun, pretty loose. Um, you're kind of enjoying like the vibe of it. People pulling up to a wrestling venue that's like in the small, like little like gym style place with their own ice chest full of beer. Um, but man, once the punches start landing, they don't stop. They don't stop. Like it just wears you down, and by the end, you're just like, man, like you're kind of glad it's over. Especially, oh man, the last scene, it got me choked up. There's a couple times in the movie where I got a little teary eyed, but at the end, like, I'm not gonna spoil it, but like it's a tough. It's a like an emotional peak. That's the part that hit me the hardest. Um, so maybe don't watch this before Christmas. That's like after Christmas. I think it would have been better for them to release this like in 2 weeks. But maybe they're just trying to capitalize on everybody liking to go to the movies during the Christmas holiday. Um, it'd probably be a great movie if you celebrate Festivus. If you're getting the aluminum pullout, you already have the airing of grievances, and you need to have the feat of strength. Maybe watch this, get you pumped up to go wrestle. Your whoever's the head of the household. I forget George Costanza, his dad's name in the Seinfeld, but if you're celebrating Festivus, this is like a Festivus movie. Out of 10, my rating out of 10, I give it a solid 7.5. Again, for me, 5 is average. Anything of like 7 or 7.5, it's something I think it's worth going to go watch in theaters. Um, Again, not a holiday movie. It might kind of bum you down or bring you down a little bit. So just wanted to give you a heads up about that. Um, Again, I think seeing this in theaters, it will support a movie that I think is worth supporting. The A24 Studios, they're coming out with some like weird, they're not weird, but I'd say different films. They're not doing the big, like trying to chase the like superhero or like sci-fi. I think they're making like very grounded movies. And I think that's why this is worth checking out to kind of support those type of movies coming out so we don't lose that part of cinema. Um, if you're a crier, I would say you're probably going to want to bring some tissues or grab a couple extra napkins when you get your popcorn. you know why you'll need them. Yeah, but this movie casted really well, and yeah, it's not fun, but it's good. So go check it out. If you do watch it, let me know what you think. If you're stuck with me this long, go ahead and hit like, subscribe. It really helps us out. And see you guys next time.